This next novel I'm going to review is Michael Crichton's Next. Yeah, I would recommend it. So you got to read Next if you like Michael Crichton. I mean, that's a given. If you haven't heard of him, Jurassic Park, Jurassic World. I mean, obviously he didn't write Jurassic World, but he started the whole thing. So look into Jurassic Park. I would say read Congo, see if you like it. Definitely read Sphere. Read Sphere first. Then read Jurassic Park and The Lost World. The Lost World book is incredible. And then that'll lead you to anything in between. You probably already even read those books. But Next is just as good. And I really enjoyed reading it. I read it in a couple weeks. I had a lot of fun. It's a fun, funny, moral story. And it has a lot of crazy characters that are like really wicked, and you would think it's far out, but I lived in LA for 6 years, so it's pretty realistic. You know, I mean, obviously there is some embellishment at a certain point to tell a tale, but with this one, not so much. I have the first Harper edition. The cover probably looks different now. To get into any details, I'll begin with the character Henry Kendall, who's like a scientist, and he finds out that something he made in his lab came alive, and now he has to deal with it. And also there's a character, Alex Burnett, whose dad, Frank Burnett, is fighting in court to get genes from his body. He was giving tests for cancer, and then they took his genes, and instead of using it for cancer research or whatever, just to take it for the cancer treatment, they started using it for something else. So he got tricked into giving his genes away, and then had to go through a legal battle to have control over his own body. And so his daughter, who's an attorney, helped to represent him and fight for him in court, and it goes into all of her troubles. And her name's Alex. She's this lady lawyer, tough as nails. And then there's the character Rick Deal, who's 34 years old. Rick Deal, like D-I-E-H-L, and that's how it's spelled. And he heads a biotech company, and he's just like really dirty, like will do whatever it takes, you know, just very bossy. And then there's a character Jack Watson, who's the head of the investor, business end of the same company. He's like, Jack Watson is Rick Deal's boss, and Jack Watson is this suntan, smooth talking guy who's just, he's like the corporate bottom line. Anyway, there's so much more to this novel than I can say. It's definitely like, it's a good look at LA and San Diego. So if you lived in Los Angeles and San Diego and La Jolla and different places and visited those places, at least you'll have a good idea how to picture the story, and you will enjoy that. It has a lot of adventure. I mean, Michael Crichton is Crichton. I hope I'm saying his name right. He's an adventure writer, and as well as sends a message with his books. I'm labeling it, or not to say label. I'm calling him a moral story writer, because most of his books, or the books I've read of him, they seem to have some message, and the reason these awful characters are in the book are to show that they're bad, and then there's the good characters, and they go through a struggle, and they prevail and stand up and fight for good, and they have more courage in the end, and well, you see what happens. Basically, these biotech companies, I mean, it's good I read this book because it reminds me that these biotech companies, I mean, from what I know about them, they're like a bunch of gangs, and so there's all these crooked characters in this story doing awful things. There's healthcare workers who are in this book who are doing things that are illegal. there's like all kinds of stuff, and like, well, what happens to crooked characters in the end, and crooked healthcare workers, and greedy biotech people who will do anything for their corporate bottom line, and who want to own all the genes, and what happens to that kind of gang? Well, what happens at the end of a gangster movie? Not good, right? And so that's something to look at, and that's a hint of what to look forward to in next. And I don't like to explain everything in detail or give spoilers, but it is a jungle. I mean, it does have a lot of animals in it. There's a parrot, an orangutan, hybrid ape, a glowing bunny. I made a whole list, I'm holding it up right here. Sea turtles, lab rats, jaguars, chickens, a hornbill, that's like a tropical bird, I mean, you could figure, and monkeys. And I think there's more. So if you're an animal lover, this is a good book for you, because I believe Michael Crichton must have loved animals, because there is that angle where there's a care for nature in our own humanity, in our natural environment. Like, you wouldn't do tests on a rat, you know, have my lab rat, because it's wrong, and to like, you know, just try to make some kind of genes and in order for a corporate bottom line, and you know, you wouldn't do that because it's wrong, but like a lot of people probably don't think so, who are just trying to make a bunch of money off of it. And you see I have my lab rat and it's brown. Lab rats are supposed to be white, but from the experiments anyway, I'm just talking on my ass. But I really enjoyed this novel, and I was like 10 years late to it, but that's okay, because after living in LA and getting smarter and learning about all these things, it really like enlivened me reading this book. And it was cool to see all the stuff about lawyers and businesses that he had in there, and science as well. You know, you can't, you know, you have to be into science, but you can't dumb yourself down to where you don't care about science. You always got to think about science too. And this rally monkey I have agrees. He's an Angels mascot, but for all I know, he was created in one of these biotech labs. So there you have it. Next, read it, fulfill your mind with it, enjoy. I don't even know if that makes sense. Fulfill your mind, fulfill your soul. I don't know. I'm just like a talking monkey right here. No, a talking chimp. So read it. You will like it. It's an easy read. It's just breezy. You can read through it in a day. All right. Until next time. Hasta mañana.